Today, I have a very special guest, Manousos, a fitness coach who helps entrepreneurs improve their focus and productivity. Manousos has been able to turn his passion into a business, generating over $50,000 in 6 months. In this interview, we'll dive deep into Manousos' journey, exploring how he was able to build his business and the strategy he uses to turn his clients into productivity machines. All right, Manu, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Awesome, man. Doing good, man. What about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. All right, so let's get started from the beginning. Now, you reached out to me, offering your services, and we're gonna get in. I'm gonna ask you in a second what you do, but I didn't first kind of reply to you, and then you commented on one of my stories, and then I got back to you, and then we started talking, and here we are doing this interview. So, dude, just tell me about yourself. Like, where are you from? What do you do for a living? And then we'll go from there.
I'm from a place called Crete. It's an island that you've probably been to many times in Greece, the biggest island in Greece. I have my coaching business in which I help entrepreneurs optimize their health and perform at their best, essentially. Yeah, that's essentially what I do and where I'm from.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the coaching side of your life. Now, how long have you been doing fitness and kind of health?
So I have pretty much my whole life since I was like 12, 13 years old. I was always into looking good. I wanted to start working out in order to have a six pack like most people. I grew up pretty naturally as well in terms of ate natural stuff, grew up alongside the farm. So it was all natural and a lot of physical activity. 2018, I was 18 years old at that time. I decided I want to coach people, right? I knew so much stuff. It was like a game to me back then. I decided I want to coach people, right? Transform them, help them lose fat, help them gain muscle. So I tried doing that. Didn't go very well in the first year or two. I had a client at the time. But yeah, after a while, it struck to me how different looking good is from feeling good. Because starting to run my own business, I was looking pretty dialed in, to be honest with you. But I just couldn't sit down and do stuff. I couldn't sit down and do outreach. I couldn't sit down and plan content. And I always procrastinated. And essentially what I did was live a pretty messed up life. Messed up, I mean sleep at 6 a.m. every day, play video games, and screw all the hard stuff. At the same time, I was studying for nursing school. I also wanted to enter medical school. Long story short, after a while, I transitioned into more of a holistic health approach in terms of what I do now, essentially, because it is really, really important to me to be able to feel good as to look good at the same time. And then I started coaching people like Jordan Platt and Nathan Nazareth and the likes like that.
Yes. So you said there's a big difference between looking good and feeling good. And that's also what I found in my life, because like you said, we have a pretty similar kind of story about this where I wanted to look good. So I started to go to fitness and started to exercise and lift weights and whatever. And I got pretty big, I was eating a lot of chicken and rice and proteins. And, I was at my peak form, I was pretty big. But what happened to me is that first off, I was not feeling comfortable in my own body. And second of all is I didn't actually feel good being so big, right? I was not flexible. My joints hurt, I didn't sleep well and all those things together, right? So then by accident, I discovered yoga and I started to, do yoga, and that really kind of put me on the path of healing my injuries and, becoming more flexible, etc., right? So that really changed my life for the better, and now I feel good. I might be not so big, but I don't want to be big. I'd rather be healthy and live pain-free. So how did you get started coaching people? Were you good at that and you thought, hey, I could help other people? And how did you find your niche? Because you're pretty niche down in terms of coaching entrepreneurs.
So essentially, I was always told by other people that I'm good at teaching stuff. For example, I was always going to the gym. Back in the days, I was always going to the gym with friends and people that I knew and try to help them. And whoever I saw was doing things mistakenly, I'm the old guy, the old pops that goes up to them and say, hey, it's kind of the wrong way to be doing that exercise. And I always had a good natural way of portraying and articulating stuff into helping them facilitate something correctly. And then how did I transition to this niche? As I said, I really resonate with the idea that, because I started running my business back in 2018, right? The only reason as to why I couldn't do anything in order to push them forward was because I didn't pay attention to my sleep. I didn't pay attention to my circadian clock. I didn't pay attention to small instances like gut health. And this can all seem like nerd speech, but essentially the idea is that I thought that by going to the gym, eating my macros, my proteins, my carbs and fats, I'm healthy, and I don't know why I can sit down and focus and think a few stuff about what to do, hard stuff to, like, the boring kind of work that you have to do when you're building and scaling, whatever. Right? And then after I started doing that more successfully, I realized that in order to sit down and focus, your mental state has to be intact, has to be optimized, as we say. And the big factor behind that is things like sleep, things like gut health, things like your hormones. If they're not functioning optimally, your brain is not functioning optimally. And I noticed that firsthand. So I figured to myself, who else would find that more valuable than actual business people like myself? Entrepreneurs who are starting to do the same thing like what I used to do and most likely are struggling with.
So you thought that, okay, other people who are also entrepreneurs, might be struggling with focusing on doing the boring work, right? The mundane work, and they would really benefit from, improving the sleep, improving their gut health, and improving their hormones, right?
Massively.
So tell me about your system for coaching entrepreneurs. Like, let's go a little bit more in depth about, obviously you don't want to reveal maybe all of your secrets, but I'm sure you can tell us about, like, what's your system? How do you go about, like, if I were to onboard with you, right? How would that look like, and everything you're doing for your clients?
There's actually no secret to this thing, brother. If you really think about this, the things that we are doing as entrepreneurs are not in alignment to what we should be doing. So you most likely have heard people say we should be living more in alignment to our ancestors. We should be living more a natural life. No supplements, no this, no that. But the thing is that when we are working for the majority of our days, sitting hunched over in our asses, working in front of our computers, in front of artificial lighting all day, most people underestimate the amount of damage that thing is causing to your mental state and physical state altogether. So essentially what I'm helping people do is use data and biofeedback in order to optimize hormones, in order to optimize mineral deficiencies, in order to optimize sleep. It's not something secret. It's things that you should be doing the similar way to that you're doing with your ads, with your YouTube channel. You're analyzing the metrics, you're analyzing the data. So essentially, it's only a case of taking a look at the data and figuring out and formulating systems that don't require time out of your day, because you have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of work to do, and I respect that, and this is how it should be done. But it's just a case of tweaking small things that you're already doing so that the data looks good, if that makes sense, right? So that is translated into placing systems in your day so that you are not fighting your biology. You're rather implementing things in your daily life as a busy individual, as an individual that requires to sit for the majority of the day and do work in front of your computer like I am, like you are, but doing it the most optimal way so that you don't have issues with your health in the long term. Because right now you might be telling yourself, I can power through my day. I'm tired, I sleep like shit, but I can power through my day.
Got it. So let's say that, for example, I'm pretty healthy, right? And I'm also an entrepreneur. And let's say that I don't want to add more things into my life, right? Like I don't want to have like maybe an Oura ring. I don't want to have like systems, right? And I feel pretty all right?
Yeah.
And you said this thing about biofeedback. So let's say that I wake up in the morning, right? And this is what we talked about earlier. And I feel great, right? I feel fantastic. I wake up, I'm energetic. I had a great night's sleep, like crazy dreams happening, whatever. And I'm waking up and I'm ready to crush the day. But then, for example, if I'm wearing like an Oura ring, right? And it's giving me a score saying, hey, you didn't sleep so well this, tonight. You should probably take it easy, right? So this was my main objective for not getting an Oura ring, because I much rather go based off of how I feel rather than a device telling me like, what's happening.
Yeah, it is really important that you learn how to leverage those tools, because this tool right here can be really powerful, but you really need to find out how to leverage those tools. And this is where I come into play. Imagine the amount of mental energy and force that you should take from your end, analyzing, like if you were to do all the things that I will tell you, like for example, do all the tests that I will tell you to do, like to the gut test, to the blood test, to the this, to that, everything that is going to be providing you with feedback, and sit down and analyze them yourself every single day, you're not going to do any work done from your end, like the actual work that's going to move the needle forward, because you're going to be thinking, oh, how do I optimize my sleep? What do I do to like improve any mineral deficiencies? And most likely research and Google all this stuff, because you're not going to be as competent, like it's not your job essentially. But the thing with the Oura ring, right? You ask specifically about the Oura ring. Most people, I was doing this myself as well in the beginning. When you first get the Oura ring, for me, I always, in the morning, I opened the app and I waited for the results, and I essentially combined I combined the score that I got from the Oura ring with the actual how I felt throughout the day. I let the app tell me how I should feel for the rest of the day, right? I have a terrible sleep score. I should feel like shit. I have an awesome sleep score. I should feel like fantastic. And it's kind of placebo, right? The reality is the data, it shows you, for example, how much REM sleep you've got, how much deep sleep you've got, how much light sleep you've got. What was your body's core temperature, for example? Things like that is what you should be paying attention. I have some clients that are, when they're wearing their rings, they're sleeping under, like they put their hands under the pillows, right? The result of that is the ring gets pressed and it doesn't read as well. If you read the graph from the app, it has some gaps, and those gaps are measured as awake time, which hinders your sleep score without it actually being bad. So you wake up feeling refreshed, but you don't know how to analyze your sleep scores, and you see a bad score and you say, well, the Oura ring is a scam, the Oura ring doesn't work. But in reality, you were sleeping on your fingers, which is something normal to do, right? You were sleeping on your fingers, and that resulted in the ring not being able to get an accurate measuring. The other side of the spectrum is if you wake, like for this sleep, the overall sleep architecture is composed by many phases. One of them is light sleep and the other of them is deep sleep. How you wake up, if you were to interrupt your sleep whilst in deep sleep, your body will naturally want to go back to sleep, because it's telling you go back to sleep with you feeling disorientated and groggy and sleepy. If you wake up whilst in light sleep, you will feel more refreshed, more energized, even if you sleep a bit less than actually like 8 or 9 hours, if you time it correctly. So it's really important that you use the tools to wake up in the most natural way. You might have heard about something called a light alarm clock.
Yes.
So this thing will ensure that you wake up in the most light way, in the most like soft way, and it will wake you up when you're most prone and more easy to wake up, which is in light sleep, and therefore you will not feel like. And if you combine all those things together, you can get good, really, really nice results with your sleep quality, essentially.
Okay. After the interview, I would like for you to recommend me actually a good light alarm, because this is something that I wanted to get, but I do need a recommendation for which one I should get. So I think that could be very beneficial. And I think also for those of you listening or watching this, we will leave a link down in the description. It might be an affiliated link, I don't know, but if you are looking to get a light alarm, there should be a link down in the description as well. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, you did it yourself. You were like, okay, I'm really good at teaching people. That's what others told me. I'm into this, right? I'm in good shape myself. I can help others, specifically entrepreneurs, have a better focus, optimize their hormones, optimize their sleep, right? Now, let's talk more about the business aspect, because I'm really curious about that, right? You said something in the beginning, like outreach, right? You couldn't outreach. So I assume, right, that you do outreach. Now, take me more specifically about how many clients you have, right? If you're willing to share that. How do you do your outreach? Like, do you have a team? And just take me inside of your business. Like, I'm curious. I'm
currently working with 3 appointment setters, 2 editors, and that's about it. I am working with 7 clients right now, about to be 8, to renew a term with another client. Not something really hectic, just simple stuff. In my process of building and scaling myself, I think. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
What's your main channel? Like, how do you go about this? Is Instagram your only and main channel?
I have a couple of Instagram channels, profiles. The main one one is Manu Fitness, the one we are chatting from. This is the one that I use the most, that I post every day, like short form content. I try to like provide as much value as possible through stories, how to do action item lists, everything. I have a couple of other profiles just for like pushing the engagement and like reposting stuff and for more outreach, of course. But I'm really going big on YouTube at the moment, and I'm trying to like post as much content as possible on YouTube. I'm really trying to post like 2 or 3 times a week there. I also have Twitter, I also have LinkedIn, I also have many other platforms, but the ones that I focus the most are Instagram, YouTube, and like Twitter as well.
Right. Okay. So you said you have 3 appointment setters. Now,
Yeah.
I have no idea, or I have an idea. Well, I kind of guess, but who is an appointment setter?
So an appointment setter is somebody who is going to be taught by you the exact process of sending DMs, of outreach and prospecting, and then communicating with the actual person in order to book the call, in order for you to take the call and like get to know the person and so on and so forth, and rock and roll from there, right? So that's what an appointment setter does, essentially.
And how did you learn that process of reaching out and having the, like the actual scripts?
99.9% trial and error. I did a lot of stupid things. When I was reaching out to people on Twitter, I had terrible scripts, and I had lots of the time I had people screenshot the message and post me on Twitter and like post the actual message, and kind of like troll the message, because the actual structure of it was terrible, and it was a pretty known guy in Twitter space. I'm not gonna name him, but it was a pretty big guy. And then I had a bunch of other comments saying, "Oh, he reached out to me as well. This is terrible, this and that." And I became this famous figure of reaching out to people in a weird way, and like made a name out of myself.
Did that actually like help you? Because they say in media or PR that like anything is good, whether it's positive or negative, or did that like just have like a troll effect kind of?
I really don't know. I kept doing what I'm doing. Like I didn't care. It kind of pissed me off, and like, oh, now everyone who knows each other knows that I'm reaching out to them. But essentially, I'm trying to reach out to people to let them know about that I can help them. This is what I'm trying to do. So I don't really care. And as you said, it's better to have people talking about you and not be in obscurity. I don't care.
Okay. So how do you go from here? Like, what's your plan to scale your business? You said you have 7, about to have the 8th client, right? You're kind of doing the work yourself, I assume. So how do you plan to scale the business from here? Where do you go? How do you take it?
So essentially, I'm wanting to build, that's for the long term. I think I really don't know about my goals for the next month or for the next couple of weeks in terms of like how to build the team. But I'm willing to, as I scale more, to build an actual team of more people and more specialists and build a better product. Yeah, essentially, I want to build the best health optimization and like performance product there is in this space. And to do that, you have to assemble a team, right? Right now, I don't really have the need to do that because like I'm a one-man army in terms of like delivering my coaching to my clients. But as, for example, if it gets hectic, it could be possible that it could be really beneficial to do so in order to not to essentially be both for actually delivering a badass product and badass service, but also not to be like to have a life as well, because otherwise I would be working like 24 hours essentially. Because if you work with clients from different countries, etc., and like have 100 clients, it can be a whole another story, right?
Right. So what are some of the results people can expect working with you? Like, what were the past results as well for your clients? What did they report?
I guess the biggest thing is that your sleep quality is going for ground 0 to ground 10, right? Because most of people, when they start working with me, are not tracking their sleep, are YOLOing their day. And by doing the small things, attacking the lowest hanging fruits, you actually feel a tremendous difference in terms of sleep quality. Now, that gets the most of your results in terms of focus, mental clarity, lower stress threshold, better energy levels. That is the big one, right? The other one is as well the physique. This is also starting to improve. Whether that your goal is to lose weight and lose fat or gain muscle, that is also something that we focus on. However, it's not a bodybuilding kind of coaching, or I don't help my clients go to like like compete or be bodybuilders, because as I said, you can look amazing, but you can feel like crap inside, and this is because you can be a metabolic disaster. So we make sure that we focus on how you feel, and then looking good because it comes as a fun byproduct. So the biggest things is the changes in energy, the changes in mental clarity, the changes in more resilience, being more structured, because I help my clients essentially provide more systems and structure, so they don't have to spend actual time thinking and like cooking and planning and doing this and doing that. So they have everything is planned out essentially, and much more energy, much more mental clarity in order to focus on scaling. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe one day we will work together as well.
Sure, man. I know you want it.
Or maybe I'll come to Crete and we will do a personal in live training.
That's gonna be badass, actually. Yeah.
All right, and then we'll record that as well. All right, dude, thank you so much. Now, for anyone who is watching or listening this and, you know, they like you, they like your energy, and they want to reach out to learn more and perhaps work with you, where can they find you?
So Instagram is @ManoFitness, Twitter is @FitnessMano. It's the other way around. So those are my two like most frequently used social media platforms, and yeah, that's that.
Cool. All right, dude, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys found it valuable. We'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Cheers.